Hey, what's up, guys? You got your boy Nandre here. Welcome to another video. So for this video, I'm playing yet another homebrew of mine. This is gonna be Midsword. Now, this list, I know it looks funky, but this is a list that I'm planning to use like post rotation. So this is gonna be another one of those training weight sort of videos. I at one point did kind of want to do I guess one of these for like each and every class, but like I don't know if I'll have the time to do so because there are a lot of different videos that I'm planning to make in the last like few weeks. And there are some also side projects I'm working on. But this list is a list I made for a few different reasons. Now the biggest one is that like this is a list that I made I think like 3 or 4 days ago. I made it right after we heard about the Swordcraft legendary Melissa, because I actually like her a lot. I know a lot of people that think she's bad. She's not bad at all. She's actually like pretty insane. So let's go and hop into the cards and we can go and talk about each one. So the first one is going to be Bladed Hedgehog. Bladed Hedgehog is criminally underused. Like, Bladed Hedgehog is actually ridiculous. So in an ideal scenario, you're going first. You go ahead and you go Bladed Hedgehog on 2. Your opponent tries to play a 2-drop. You go ahead and you use either Shield of Flame or Cahulin. You kill off their 2-drop. Bam. Bladed Hedgehog is now a 2/3. That's fine. Your opponent still doesn't get the memo, and for some reason like didn't like keep like a 3 damage removal spell. So they try to like temp out another creature. Oh, cool. That goes into my turn 4, so I just get to Geno you. Cool. Most likely the Geno lives the trade because there aren't that many like 3x creatures that are like used in the metagame. So what you'll find yourself in is that, oh, the Bladed Hedgehog gets buffed again. It's now a 3/3. Hello, Mr. Tove, and you also have like a 4/1 or like a 4/2 Geno. Most times it's gonna be like a 4/1. Now this puts your opponent in a very, very rough bind because they not only have to kill the Bladed Hedgehog, they now also have to kill the Geno, and most likely if they don't have a swing card depot, that means that they can only kill one, or they have to take a very, very weak turn, and that's good for you. Like, very, 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 very criminally underused. Like it gets so out of hand so quickly. It's just it's a good card. The other thing is that the Bladed Hedgehog itself has 3 HP, so that means he taxes most removals. Like, for example, if you're someone that's like playing like Wholesale Swing, Bladed Hedgehog is gonna make sure you have a bad time. If you're playing like Blazing Breath, again, gonna make sure you have a bad time. It's really, really good at that. 3 Cahulin. So for me, I really, really like 3 Cahulin. I like it a lot just because like it has rush. It also scales a little bit into the late game. You can kind of think of Cahulin as, say, a Wholesale Twing, except again one with like slightly better scaling. But like it's also like situational scaling too. However, I just like it just because like it's a creature that does battle damage, and sometimes the battle damage is actually like more relevant than like spell-based damage. Like, for example, if you're versus a B&B, that battle damage is actually more relevant than the spell-based damage because like B&B is not going to get affected by that. Just really, really, really good. I like it quite a bit just because like gaining Bane is really, really powerful. Like it means that they have like a lot of like top decks and a lot of like answers for like tall units. Because like to me, that's what Swordcraft encompasses. Just like being able to have like resourceful tools to dealing with like most like board states. 2 Shield of Flame. So this could have been 3 Shield of Flame. However, I didn't really have space for it. So I'm just using 2. Like, it's fine because like for the most part, this deck aims to be like really like proactive. So you don't really like feel like the loss of only having 2 Shield of Flame. 2 Kai'Sa. So this Kai'Sa is a big one. So I know recently I've bashed a lot of people who, well, yeah, I've like lightly and or severely bashed a lot of people who want to play like Token Swordcraft, because like to me Token Swordcraft like as a whole is not good. Like, it's not good not because tokens are bad. It's not good because of the way that people want to play the tokens. Like, people kind of want to go like all in on tokens. So it's basically like Mars deck or bust, and that's not good. I don't think that'll ever be good. Just because like, sorry about that. Just because when you look at tokens from other decks, or sorry, when you look at other like board floody decks, other board floody decks from like other classes, you'll see a few like different recurrent trends. One, they have a lot of disposable creatures, creatures that they don't care about if they die or not because they've already like done something. 2, they have a way to protect their board. Or 3, they have so much board flood it doesn't even matter and they don't even care. It doesn't affect them. To give you some examples of this, like PDK floods, like they don't care because like all their creatures they all do something when they come into play. Like say for example, Dragon Summoner draws you more cards, Dragoon Scyther kills something for you, Maelstrom Serpent has Storm, Aquanair brings out summons another creature and procs PDK again, like things like that. For Shadow has infinite floods because they just don't care. Like they have Catacombs, they have Thane, they have Zombie Party, they have Ektar. Yeah, too many floods for them to care about AoE. For Blood has a lot of floods. All of their tokens actually do something when they come out, and they're not just like vanilla. They're also more proactive about their tokens, and they kind of just, you know, like they do it more efficiently. For Forest, again, like Shadow, they have like infinite floods because they have like infinite token generation and things like that. They also have stuff like say Brambles in order to power up their tokens. They also have stuff like Lies in order to like protect their board. Sword has none of this. So I feel like if you want to like, you know, have tokens or whatever, you should be playing Kai'Sa. Honestly, you should be playing Kai'Sa, and because Kai'Sa helps you beat out board floods. It helps you beat out wave clear, because when you can play Kai'Sa is essentially another 2/2 that you just kind of play for free. It forces your opponent to want to be like coerced into like AoEing the board, but the AoE the board doesn't matter to you because you didn't really spend anything on the board, and you get the Kai'Sa back and you just get to keep doing it over and over again until your opponent like runs out of answers. 3 Grimnir. So 3 Grimnir is kind of an interesting one. Like, to be honest, this will probably maybe end up being Lancer of the Tempest after rotation, but for now, Grimnir is very good. Like it does 2 things that you want. Like it has ward, because as I mentioned earlier, Venom the Lancer is actually rotating out, so we will not have early game wards unless we play Grimnir. And then also it has the enhanced 10. The enhanced 10 is still very good. Now granted, it doesn't do face damage, but in the case of Sword never needed Grimnir to do face damage. Well, most of the time anyway. And just being able to have that AoE, that's still very powerful. It's still very good because it helps you with the, what do I do if I actually need to go past turn 10? Which I know a lot of people like complain about, turn 10 doesn't exist in this game. No, my deck can actually get to turn 10 and beyond, like pretty frequently actually. 2 Pure Heart Singer. So for Pure Heart Singer, I felt like you needed to draw cards with Sword, but Sword doesn't really have like that much in the way of card draw, which is fine. Because you can just go ahead and play Singer, and Singer each time you play one, it draws you 2 cards. So effectively, you have 2 draw 2s. So you have like so you have a total of like four cantrips across the 2 of them. That's very strong. Additionally, with Singer is also kind of nice because like most times if you play Singer, I find that most times your opponent just kills it if they don't out of fear of say Maisie. If they don't kill it, that's still fine because you can still just kind of use this as like a 1 damage ping later to go ahead and help clear something. And again, if they do kill it, you're still fine with that because because Singer just drew you 2 cards and it effectively healed you for 2 HP. So it's always for 2 or more HP actually. So it's always good by me. I don't know. 3 Momo. So Young Ogre Hunter Momo is a card that I actually like quite a bit. The reason why I like it is just because like it's very fast, it's efficient, it's small. You can compare this to say Dragoon Scyther sort of. Now granted, Momo doesn't have Storm, but that's fine. Momo never needed to have Storm to be good. Like Momo is just like insane. It helps you with the whole Bladed Hedgehog curve cheat spam thing. It also helps you with versus Dragon. Because I know a lot of times people complain that Sword can't beat Dragon. That's not true, and thankfully I now have some of the games to back it up. The other thing is that Momo, like because Sword is like also criminally underplayed, no one ever expects Momo any single time. So a lot of times people will play into the Momo. If you Momo something and then like say get to play it like if you go like say Bladed Hedgehog into Momo, into like say Grimnir or something like that, that's a really strong turn because like you start setting up Bladed Hedgehog chains, you start getting things going. You can also do Amelia plus Bladed plus like Momo on 7, that's also pretty good, or Singer plus Momo, and that's also still pretty good. 3 Geno. There's not much that I can say about Geno that hasn't already been said like a billion times across like a billion years, because like Geno's just like the de facto like 4-drop for sword. It's still very, very strong, and it's even stronger here because if you haven't noticed yet, the sort of like focal point of this deck is being able to just like escalate threats and just kind of like out-tax and out-threat your opponent at every single like portion of the game, while also like, you know, being proactive. Like Geno forces like unique answers in the form of like removal, because anything you trade into it most likely dies. Albert, same thing. Luminous Mage, same thing, and so on and so forth. 3 Amelia. So the Amelia is kind of nice because Amelia effectively is a 6 mana 6/6, but it's across 2 bodies, and 1 body has ward. That's very, very powerful. Now, unfortunately for me, I'm not like because I'm not like playing the list that'll have like Melissa in it. Unfortunately, it's hard. It's a little bit harder to trigger the Gelt consistently. But it's fine because like in the games where you can, like, say for example versus aggro, you'll be able to go ahead and on 4 play Amelia, play Gelt, evolve the Amelia. Yeah, you have a 0 cost 3/2 ward. 0 cost 3/2 ward is pretty good. And you also have a 5/6 Amelia that can go ahead and make trades for you. It makes it very, very difficult for your opponent, and it kind of coerces them to want to trade, because a lot of people will be fearing Albert. It's very, very good at helping you come back into like complex board states, and I really like it a lot. You also don't need to play 3 of these. You can just like play 2 and that'll be fine too. Just because, like I said, the Gelt is kind of hard to trigger, because the only commanders I have are Albert, Amelia, and Luminous Mage. Oh, I lied out. There's also Barbarossa as well, but yeah. 3 Albert. So Albert is one of the finishers of this deck, but I would like to at this point point out that like you don't have to win with Albert every single game. You don't. Like, it's not necessary. People like to meme that it is. It's not. Like, you can play a grindy game and that'll be fine too. Like, if you're expecting to win with Albert every single game, like, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're doing it wrong. It's still a very, very efficient card. You know, 3/5 Storm. You know, you can play it before 9, make trades. You can play it on 9, make even more trades, or you can go face with it. You know, whatever you got to do. It's very, very flexible in that regard. 2 Luminous Mage. So Luminous Mage is another big one. So, as I mentioned earlier, you don't really have wards. However, what you kind of like rely on is having a lot of like pseudo wards, because like a lot of your creatures are really kind of scary to leave up, because a lot of them either have high base attack. Either have like high base attack, or in the case of Luminous Mage, are threatening to give out more free evos. So it's really good just because like Luminous Mage kind of reads as like a 5 HP ward. It also helps you do something that I think is very important, which I'm going to talk about right here, which is you want your turn 5 as sword, because ironically enough, the turn 5 as sword is actually the weakest and strongest part of sword at the same time. Because I feel like it's around this time where like people like go downhill, or they like start losing the game if they haven't already lost like from like things beforehand. And I really think that like you need to do whatever you can on turn 5 in order to simplify the game state. If you can simplify the game state on turn 5, you're going to be fine, and you're probably going to win the game actually going into like the later turns. And Luminous Mage, in my opinion, helps you do that. Additionally, the Luminous Knight that you get from the fanfare of Luminous Mage actually isn't that bad. But like I've had some games where like Luminous Knight kind of like OTKs people with like Albert, just because I'm able to like build a board that has like Luminous Knight on it. People, and mind you, this is like Albert without an Evo, and I'll be able to go ahead and just like evolve the Luminous Knight or something like that, and then just like kill them. It's really funny. 2 White-Eared Swordsmen. So White-Eared Swordsman is another big card. Now this is a card that I've been waiting to play around with like quite a bit, but I never actually got around to getting the chance to do so. I'm really glad I get to do so now. So White-Eared Swordsman is a card that like for a lot of different reasons. One, it has a nice keyword, Bane and Ward. This is very, very powerful because it means that not only does your opponent have to interact with it, anything that interacts with it is going to die. Or they have to use removal spells. If you have to use removal spells to clear this, that's great for me, because that means that like you can't like fully develop for that turn, and if you can't fully develop, that goes into what I was saying earlier with the you have a weak turn 5. Let me go ahead and capitalize off of that and win. Because if you have a weak development turn on turn 5, a lot of decks start to like crumble. But for the White Ridge, what makes it so ridiculous is that not only does it have Bane and Ward, its evolve is whenever this follower attacks an enemy follower, destroy the enemy follower before it can deal any damage in return. So this means that like White-Eared Swordsman can literally kill every single 5 and lower drop in the game, and it can also kill most 6 drops too. That's very, very powerful. Like, and it also leaves behind a very, very large and well-statted body. The reason why I say it's a very, very well-statted body is because, like, it's at 5 HP. 5 HP and above, it kind of hits that threshold where it becomes very, very difficult for you to remove it with another creature in return without having to use without one, having to use an Evo, or two, having to also, like, use a removal slot in the process. Because it means the 2x units can't actually attack into you. And it means that you have to either use a 3x or you have to use a 4x attack unit to do so. But you're never going to want to use a 4x attack unit because that's going to feel bad. There also aren't that many in the game. And if you do have to use a 2x unit, you're going to have to use a removal spell as well. So this White Witch kind of, in exchange for an Evo, came out, killed a dude, killed another dude, and ate a removal spell. We take those. That's a +2. Like, and all it cost me was an Evo, my White Witch? Sure, I will take that any day of the week. Because again, it makes it so you have a bad turn 5, if you have a bad turn 5, or bad turn 6, or whatever, depending on turn order. This means that I'm gonna be able to climb in, I'm gonna be in the driver's seat, and I'm never letting you like come back into that game. Next on the list is one of the more controversial ones, Barbarossa, aka Bob Ross. So for this one, you might have seen it if you've watched some of my other videos, but I actually like Bob Ross quite a bit. Now, you might be wondering, okay, well, how does Bob Ross factor into the whole turn 5 plan thing? Well, this is how. So it has Rush, and then has Last Words at the start of your turn. Put a Bob Ross into your hand. Changes cost to 8 if there are 2 enemy followers or less in play, and changes cost to 2 instead if there are 3 enemy followers or more in play. So this is really big because Bob Ross lets you play certain like I guess like mind games with your opponent, and it's one of those cards I like because like there's a lot of equal play around for both you and for your opponent. It's a very, very skillful, it's a very, very skill cappy card in that aspect, which I think is part of why people like don't really play it because the thought didn't really occur to them. But there are like 3 or 4 scenarios that happen right after you play Bob Ross. So one of them is that your opponent like kills Bob Ross, but they don't like further develop. Like, for example, if you say you remove Bob Ross and then you just like play it like a 2 attack unit or whatever, in order to make sure the Bob Ross goes up to 8 mana. Yeah, like this for you is the ideal situation because it adheres to the whole, oh, well, you have a weak turn of development on turn 5, let me go and capitalize on turn 6. The other scenario is that your opponent like says, balls to the wall, we're gonna ignore Bob Ross. So you can't ignore Bob Ross. The reason why is because like Bob Ross, like literally just like it will kill most units that evolve around the 5 or 6 mana turn. Even if that creature is in fact evolved, because it means that like if you want to evolve the creature, it has to be at least an X4 evolve, which there aren't actually that many of those, by the way. So it means that I can just get to kill it for free. I can trigger the Last Words on my turn 6, which means that yet again you'll still be under the, oh, can I develop, can I not develop thing, which is actually a more painful situation for you than just like killing it on the first turn, because it means that if I go like hard with my turn 6, which again is very, very doable because you have certain options to like let you do that, it now means that, oh, well, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble if I do in fact get the 2 mana Bob Ross now, because it means that, oh, I have 2 mana Bob Ross, I'm still going strong. Boom, you're just gonna get hit like a truck. The next thing is that, oh, people say kill the Bob Ross and then flood out anyway, and just not give a crap about Bob Ross. So this is the scenario that I think a lot of people like kind of like tunnel vision on, and to be honest with you, I don't think that's like correct, because if your opponent like floods out after killing the Bob Ross, like they were always going to flood out, and it didn't really matter what 5-drop you played. That was almost assuredly always going to happen. That's not really a fault of Bob Ross in and of itself. If you like lose that game, so much as it's a fault of of either you and your opponent. The reason being is that, like, well, yes, Bob Ross is in fact supposed to like help you like slow down the game. The Bob Ross, it only scales well if you've played like turn 1 to 4 correctly. Like, for example, if you're like behind on like say turn 3 and you're still behind on turn 4 and you play the Bob Ross is not going to magically carry you back into the game, and you'd rather have like say White-Eared Swordsman. But yeah, but I definitely feel like people kind of like tunnel vision on the last aspect a little bit too much. There's also one other outcome of your opponent kind of or your opponent like kills the Barbarossa and then they also flood out, and then you actually do have an answer. If you do in fact have an answer, like your opponent just like loses the game. Like for example, I had an opponent recently. He killed the Barbarossa. He flooded out. He didn't expect to have like a good turn 6. My turn 6 was, I believe, Luminous Mage plus Kahulin, and I cleared up like almost their entire board, and then they just like lost the game because like they knew how to team mana Barbarossa in hand, and they couldn't actually do anything about that because my next turn was I think another Barbarossa and another Barbarossa plus like another like 5-drop of some sort, and they just like lost the game because that's really hard to come back from. But yeah, very, very solid card overall. I definitely look forward to it seeing more play. Next one on this list is Lion Champion. So Lion Champion is basically, for right now anyway, is more or less it's in here for two reasons. One, it's in here because it's essentially a sub for like Melissa. The other reason why it's in here is because I have an animated copy, and lastly, it's in here because people don't read Lion Champion at all. Like doing what I call Lion Champion math when you're trying to like calc how to kill it is actually very, very hard because Lion Champion isn't actually a 4/5. It's actually a 5/6 or 6/7. This is based off the number of attacks your opponent has to use in order to clear it, because again, it's at that 5 HP threshold. If you have a good turn 5, you can afford it to like develop this for free on turn 6. Your opponent's gonna have a very, very difficult time with it, just because the calcing for a Lion Champion, if you're curious, is that you have to like calc your creatures as being like 1 attack less than they already have. So for example, if you're trading in a 4-attack unit into Lion Champion, it's actually a 3-attack unit. So you have to trade in again, and he just gobbles up creatures. It's actually like hilarious. Lion Champion has sometimes got me like as many as say a +3, and that's insane. Like very, very, very strong card. Now again, like when rotations happens, you will obviously go ahead and like sub this for like Melissa instead, because Melissa is a little bit better, I feel like, because it's also hexproof, so it can't be ignored. And it's very, very hard to kill. 2 Action Strayer. So Action Strayer is a card that like I really, really wanted to play with, because like I have lost to this card in Take 2. I've also had like a few 5-0 runs with this card in Take 2. It's a very, very ridiculous card when you can actually like utilize it correctly. So it's very, very simple and to the point. It's 6 mana, 6/5, and then evolve, destroy an enemy follower or amulet. So the enemy follower or amulet is actually very, very big, because like if you think about it, it's essentially an Emeralda that's gated by having it stuck as an evolve effect. Now, unfortunately, it is an officer, which means that if you're not careful with your evos, you're going to be in a rough spot, because it's going to like feel bad having to play this. But like even just like playing it by itself isn't even like awful, because it's still a 6 mana 6/5, and that kind of hurts. But destroy an enemy follower or amulet is very, very powerful, because it means that you can kind of come out, kill a creature, kill another creature, and then your opponent has to spend a creature to kill you back, so you get a solid +2. That's very, very powerful. You can also just play it out for tempo, no evolve if you need to, and if you're holding evolve, that makes it very, very scary for your opponent to deal with, because it means that they have to kill it and before they can like play it like real cards. That's very, very good for you. Very, very solid card, and it still adheres to that trend of card that kind of gets you a +1 or +2 and just like let you like coast off of that. The next card is Fangblade Slayer. So Fangblade Slayer is in here for 2 reasons. One, it's very, very synergistic with the Albert. Now, I don't really hold evos that often for Albert. Usually when I play, like unless I like know that the Albert's like in my hand. And Fangblade Slayer, it helps you start like turning the corner a lot faster if you're in a game where you've just been like playing for the board the entire time. You haven't been like allowed to like push that much base damage, because Fangblade is 3 damage on turn 8, 3 more damage on turn 9 if he lives, plus Albert, which is 6 damage on 9 if you play it for the enhance. That's 12 damage. Very, very powerful card. Because like usually your opponent's removal and things will be taxed so hard that like they usually won't have a unit that can kill revenge kill Fangblade immediately. So most likely Fangblade is gonna be able to kill at least 2 or 3 units before finally dying to like a removal spell. But think about that for a second. He killed 2 or 3 cards by himself and cleared up the way for Albert. So like, say if you wanted to, you could just say, hell, let me just go ahead and just go Sky Knights on 9 without it being a clear kill, because your opponent's removal is so taxed that like they can't actually do anything about it. So the Albert just like gets to sit and play and just like gets to do like 12 damage by himself because he lived on turn 9 and turn 10. That's pretty ridiculous. And then lastly, Hero of Antiquity. Hero of Antiquity serves a similar concept or purpose as, say, Fangblade Slayer. I know that there was a lot of debate about this way back when. I definitely do think both of them are good. However, both of them attack different parts of the meta. Fangblade attacks the rogue meta, in which you can literally be playing versus anything, and Hero attacks more defined metas where metas in which you might possibly want like the Hero of Antiquity to live, as opposed to Fangblade. Like for example, versus Haven. Hero of Antiquity, it ignores Tribunal, and that's very powerful. It also can live a trade into the new Haven legendary, the one that's a 3/7, which is very powerful, because like if you can't actually live a trade in that, you're gonna feel very sad, because like Fangblade Slayer will actually die every single time into a trade with that unit. Well, it won't die directly, but it'll be effectively like left for dead if the unit's like trading into you. Yeah. So this list overall, it's really powerful list. I like it a lot. Definitely, check out the concept games when they come out. They should be out later today or maybe tomorrow. I'm not really sure. Anyway, thank you guys for watching.